Hey everybody, it's Highfly. I am going to build a Hyperlow Frames CG with 5-inch arms. I'm going to be using Foxeer Predator Mini, Foxeer F405 all-in-one with the new camera control feature. We are going to be running the Team Black Sheep Crossfire Nano, a Maytech VTX, which is stackable. Probably can't see that yet, but it's a stackable VTX with the MMCX 90-degree SMA out. We'll connect that with these badass Foxeer Lollipop antennas SMA. They're super robust. You get two for $19.99. We're going to be powering these with the GarageWorks KG4 2206 2450 motors. Next, we will be running, to power those motors, we're going to be running the spedix-rc IS 30 amp 2 to 4S. They're pretty tiny. They're not as small as the Emax Bullet 30 amps, but these are definitely more robust, so I'm excited to use these because I like the HVs and I like the 32-bit GS35s for 6S. I'm excited to try these because I've had nothing but good luck with spedix. And I'm going to be using the new Foxeer F405 all-in-one flight controller with camera control. That's one of the biggest features of this, is being able to solder up your OSD wire right to the pin. I can barely see it. I gotta get my glasses. But anyway, there's a camera control pin out for this, and you'll be able to go right into your OSD, change all your camera settings on the fly. No more toggle BS and any of that stuff. So yeah, we're gonna use it. The Foxeer comes with these badass little rubber soft mount deals, and they're in there. They were kind of a pain to get in there, but once I figured it out, you just kind of roll it. You put it in there in the corner, roll it, try to get a little piece like that, and then basically peel it like that. But they're pretty buff, and they're in there. 2 Velcro straps and an Immortal T connector. All the antenna tube zip ties. Richard over at Hyperlow does an awesome job packaging his frame. He gives you all these, all the nuts and bolts. He gives you some antenna tubes, zip ties, standoffs. I mean, you got the foam pads for the top of the battery. It's just for 75 bucks, man. This is just a world-class frame. I'm going to try something a little bit different and use some super small 3mm lock nuts right here instead of just putting the nylon ones or a vibration damping standoff, just because the Foxeer already comes with the little gummies. I'm just going to slide that right over top because I'm not too concerned about spacing on the bottom, because that's where my Immortal T is going to come out. It's going to come from underneath like so. Please slam this down. Got enough room to put some lock nuts on, at least get to the top of the thread. Remember, you don't need to tighten these up too tight. Just get them a little tight up against it, and then just give them another little small turn, because the tension of the rubber gummies is going to keep them from spinning. So you just got to get a little tension. You don't want to mushroom them down here, because then you're basically taking away the effects of actually having the damn thing. So don't tighten it up too much. Just a little bit. So I went from the bottom. These are actually press nuts in there, so I went the opposite way, put another lock nut. That way I can just make sure that these arms are just super solid in there, even though they always are. But you know, I feel like an idiot and I've crashed a lot, so I'm trying to go. I'm not going for light. I'm going for, like, I don't want to have to fix this thing all that much. Alright, anyway, so I used a 16mm screw, went up, used a steel screw there, and then put a small standoff that was actually included with the kit, and then my Maytech VTX, beautiful, switchable, up to 500 milliwatts, which is, I can go mid-range, I can go pretty damn far with that. It's going to sit just like that, and then the antenna is going to go around underneath, and boom. Alright, so this VTX is now on there. I like it. I'll have a lot of airflow, and I still have clearance for Velcro straps, extra wire, whatnot. So yeah, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take the spedix IS30 ESCs here, and we're going to solder these up to the flight board. But first, before I do that, I'm going to pre-solder all the correct tabs that I need for what I'm using. So I gotta go look at the schematic and put my damn binoculars on. Oh, we've got the flight board all pre-tinned. The ESCs are all pre-tinned, and we're going to solder all these up, get the motor wires cut and pre-tinned as well, and then dry fit everything, make sure it's all good. And once that's all done, I'll start working on the camera and the VTX. Everything is soldered on. Super easy to do, actually. Yeah, so now it's all soldered up. I'm gonna start cutting the wires for the motors and solder those up. We'll plug it into Betaflight, and then we'll power up the motors and make sure they're all good. Program the ESCs. Got the motors mounted, pre-tin the wires, cut them to length. I've got heat shrink slid all the way over, so that way that's ready. I'm going to use some 3M tape to put down for the ESCs to rest on. Then I'll solder it up, heat up the shrink wrap. Okay, so I got the ESCs wired up to the motors, shrink wrap it, put some 3M double sticky tape for a little padding. I checked the board already before I even started this. That's usually the first thing I'll do, is I'll plug it in just to double check. So it was good, and then I usually plug the flight board into Betaflight or Butterflight or whatever your flight you're using, and make sure that I can program it and there's no defaults, because you don't want to do all this and then find out that the board's got something bad on it. You plug it in, smokes, whatever. It's just a huge waste of time, so I always do that stuff first. But yeah, I already did it. Plugged it in. Battery is right here. Plug it in. No light, so we're clear. The lights on the Foxeer board are working, so I'm good to go on power right now. So next, what I'm going to do is fire up the motors, check motor rotation, and then I will configure the ESCs in BL Heli Suite. Okay, so we're in the motors tab. We are going to make sure all of our props are off. We're going to select that, if it selects for me, this damn touch screen stupid thing. And then I'm going to plug my battery in. Boom, boom. Just put it over here to the side. And then I'm going to get them all to spin, because it's easier for me to see the motor direction. And boom, boom. Right? So now I get it spinning. Okay, so motor 4 is off. 2 is good. 3 is good. And 1 is off. So usually that's how it is. So motor 4 and motor, and then just disconnect. So motor 4 and motor 1. So I'll go into BL Heli Suite now. We're going to disconnect and go into BL Heli Suite. Alright, we're in BL Heli Suite. We're going to read setup. Plug in. You got to plug in first and then read it. So we're going to read setup. And boom, we are all on 16.7. So motor number 1 and number 4, that's the first things we want to do, right? Change those up. Reverse them. I like to do set this because I'm going to have to actually, we'll just write it. So now we're going to write the setup. 10 minutes. I'm going to set my beacon delay to 5 minutes, and I'll put the, so after 5 minutes, my beacon delay, the ESCs will start beeping. Here's the strength right here, so I'm usually like, I don't want to go blow it out, so it's about where I set. And then I usually set these to 1000 and 2000. So I calibrated all of them from 1000 to 2000 and changed the motor directions on number 1, number 4. I also set my beacon delay to 5 minutes and turned the volume up just a little bit. What's this at? I'll bring it back down to 80. That was, I think I accidentally moved it. And then once that's done, you're going to write setup. It's going to go in there and write everything up. So yeah, that's pretty much done. Now we'll go and wire up the VTX and camera, and then we will wire up the Crossfire Nano receiver, and then we should be good to go. Okay, I got the camera put in. I trimmed up the wiring harness. I had to depin the V-Sense because I don't need to get power from the VBAT. I'm going to get it right from OSD, so I depinned that. I also depinned the little dongle for the controller that you can use. That's stupid. That's why I'm getting this board, so I can do it through OSD. Anyway, so I replaced the little, this pin, I depinned it, and then put the V-Sense wire and put it back inside of there where for OSD. That way I have a long enough cable. And basically I'm going to plug it in and wire it up to these 4 right here. You got ground, you got power, you have the video signal, and then you have the OSD, the camera control right there. So those 4 are going to go directly, and then we will plug that in, and then we'll go to the VTX. Wired the camera, got the VTX wires wired up right here. This is the smart port, then you have the video in, then you have power, ground. So I wired those. I ran the wires underneath the board, so that way I can keep everything pretty clean up top, so I don't have wires rubbing against the Velcro straps. So now all I got to do is take these, cut them, pre-tin them, and wire them up to the VTX. Okay, I got the cameras all wired in, plugged in, VTX is all done. I'm just going to put a couple of plastic nylon nuts on top of that to keep it held down. But I'm going to angle the, I'm going to get the antenna ready to put on there, and then yeah, we should be good to go. I'll solder up the TBS Crossfire Nano to it, and be ready for a maiden. Hey, so I got everything all buttoned up finally. Got the TPU piece that Albert made for me. Got the SMA coming right out. I hooked the Immortal T down here, ran the wire up through here and right to the Nano, double stick taped it, and now I just am updating the receiver through the Tyrannus, and it looks like it's good to go. It's all done. I just need to put in all the motor bolts, Loctite them all, and then just do a quick nut and bolt check. Everything's arms, everything is bound. I put the top plate on, and then I've got a badass TPU mount. Alright, but that's it. So yeah, it's not too hard to build this thing, and it's a lot of fun.